Hello everyone and welcome back to Horse Review. In this episode I'll be discussing the Irish Cob. Before we begin, I'd like to thank everyone who has liked these videos and has subscribed to my channel. It means a lot to me and I really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get started. As always, we'll begin with our grid to analyze the horse's conformation. Like with most of the horses that I've reviewed so far, the Irish Cob is definitely taller than it is long, which isn't ideal. However, when comparing the size of the shoulder, barrel, and haunches, they actually line up pretty well. The shoulder and haunches are about 1.5 squares each, with the barrel being about 2 squares. The head may look a little large, but this is actually typical for the breed in real life. Overall, the legs should be a little bit shorter, but in general, they've done a good job capturing the breed. Now we'll take a look at the gaits. The walk is okay, though the longer legs do make the horse look a little bit bulky as it's moving forward. The horse isn't quite tracking up, but it's close. You can see the muscles in the hind leg sort of snapping forward a bit as it brings the hind leg forward. I would like to see this movement be a little bit smoother and less abrupt. The front legs move well, and I appreciate how they still bend at the fetlock, which is something that is easily forgotten on feathered breeds. The trot is bouncy and the front legs are somewhat high-stepping, which is typical for the breed in real life. In addition, the hind legs are coming up underneath the horse quite well. The haunches are swinging well and don't have the snapping forward motion that was seen at the walk. However, I think the presence of the feathers might have confused whoever was animating it, as the fetlocks on the hind legs are not bending properly for this gait. And if you look closely, the horse is landing toe first on all 4 feet, which is not desirable. In general, though, I would say that the trot is better than the walk. You can really see the size and weight of the Irish Cob in the canter. The way it's animated, the horse is landing quite heavily on the front end, which is not ideal. I'd like to see the horse rocked back on its haunches a little bit more to take weight off of the forehand. In addition, you can once again see that the fetlocks on the hind legs were not animated very well in this gait, probably because of how much feathering there is. The hand gallop is pretty similar to the canter, and the horse is seen being somewhat on the forehand, though it's not quite as bad. The front legs are reaching okay, though the hind legs are a little bit sloppy. If you look closely in the slow motion, you can see how the hind right leg kind of sucks up and clips into the haunches. This also prevents it from reaching forward well. However, I would like to comment that the movement of the mane is very detailed. The full gallop is pretty similar to the hand gallop, though the hind leg doesn't seem to suck up and underneath quite as much. The horse is reaching well in front, but once again, the fetlocks in the hind legs were not paid attention to very well. They were also ignored a little bit in the front legs at this gait, too. The rear is quite nice, with the horse supporting itself well on its hind legs. The horse comes back down to the ground well and repositions itself realistically. The subtle striking motion in the front left leg is a nice touch. Unfortunately, the hard stop on the Irish Cob is not very good. You can see that the hocks literally touch the ground. If a real horse were to do this, it would be likely to actually have its legs fall out from underneath it and land on its hind end. If you look closely, the horse also kicks its hind legs with its front hooves. Finally, we will take a look at the jumps. The arc of the canter jump is good, though the hind legs do stick out quite a bit instead of coming up underneath the horse. You can also see that the horse doesn't really push off the ground. If you look closely at the hind legs, you'll see that the hooves almost float up about a foot into the air. However, the landing is nice and the horse transitions back into the gait well. The jump from the hand gallop is pretty much the same as the canter. Once again, you can see that the hind legs don't actually push off the ground and instead just lift off the ground. Same story with the gallop jump, though in this case, the legs do start coming under a little bit before the horse lands. Though the Irish Cob was quite popular when it came out, it's easy to see how it lost its popularity when the next horse came along. Though the horse's details are quite nice, and overall the conformation isn't terrible compared to other star stable horses, the movements are quite lackluster and leave a lot to be desired. Because of this, I'm going to give the Irish Cob a score of poor. Thank you for watching, and if there are any breeds that you would like to see next, please let me know in the comments.